welcome back to Adobe Live and Animation 301, episode 2. Before we begin, because there's a few things I need to say. Hello, Voodoo Val. Hello, August. Good to see you both. I hope you lot have been well. I hope you had a good day so far and that you're ready to learn some cool things. Speaking of cool things, we're going to be doing something similar to my intro today. It's a technique called match cuts, which has been used in lots of different ways, not just in animation, but more so in video editing and things of the like. So it's quite cool to be able to learn how to use it to make it fit your own style. Hi, Oliver. Hi, Uma. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Ooh, I wonder what kind of match cutty things you'll be doing. But before we talk about match cuts, we kind of need to know what it is. So, what is a match cut? A match cut connects different scenes via synchronized actions, graphics, and audio. In our case, we're going to be doing it via actions. Kind of graphical actions, but actions. And since my intro's chock full of these, let's take a look at a little section right here. So in this case, the match is the assumed continued movement of the paper plane by moving along with the same momentum and the same kind of direction the plane would be going in. Any other item would be accepted. Your eye just kind of blends it together. Same for the brush the cherry. Because its position and the momentum are similar enough, the transition appears stylish. So we can take this and pretty much go with it to do anything of any perspective, any action, anywhere. Pretty cool. So what are we actually going to be working on today? Got three things. We got fresh tea to the lemon and fierce. Yes. And this is your call to action to download today's mini games. We're not going to have more tongue twisters. Maybe we need to do a mini game about tongue twisters because it's caught me twice already. So this is your call to action to download today's mini games. Should be in a RAW file, but if like episode 1, you have the files all open for you, make sure you download and extract everything because all of the mini games are in those 3 files. Wait, Devlin said, oh, I'll get an F because I didn't do 101 nor 201. Don't worry, Devlin. It's okay. You can slide in at any semester as long as you have fun. That's what we're here for. Paolo says, hi guys, good afternoon. I'm here with my eyes wide open. Thank you, Val. Val said, I'm so pumped for this. Yes! Hooray for the excitement. That's what I love to hear. Woo! Yes. So as you saw before at the bottom, I do love showing your work and your example. That was from our Animation 201 semester. Penny completed a 2D turnaround of a really detailed bottle because you know that took a long time. Penny was like, it took me ages. It's a labor of love. Frame by frame. Definitely a labor of love. Welcome on in, August. Yay, I can see what's possible even if I can't do it yet. Always. It's the wonderfulness of the VOD. Because then you can come back whenever you like. Huzzah. Penny's been a good student. Oh, Penny's been on it, I tell you. Speaking of on it, let's take a look at number 1. Fresh tea. So we've got, by the way, if you see any character with an afro, it is my sister. We've got my sister brushing the teeth, going towards the train of a similar color. Now, when we do it, we'll try to make this match a little bit better. But because we've been doing this for a little bit, I was animating some of it before for you to get you started. None of it's animated now. None of it. I mean, like, none of it. So we're gonna have to dive in and actually take a couple of steps, go back to our former knowledge, apply everything, and then add our latest technique to the mix. Oh, thank you, Val. Yes, the file's in the chat and in the description box. Okie dokie. So if we press the space bar, we can see nothing moves. I wasn't kidding. I think it's time for us to flex our animation muscles. These parts at the top are for the match cut to happen. We don't have to use the entirety of the timeline, but it's big enough just in case you want to have it a longer or shorter or maybe flip back between the two. Alrighty. So, since nothing's moving, but everything's almost connected, I think your head in this case might not be. So if it's not, go ahead and click the pick whip, collect it to the neck, and I think everything should be okay in that manner, but we need to brush the teeth. So if we go and look for the arm, we could take that arm, but I think if I go for the very back arm, I'm trying to look for it. Let's just move it out the way. There we go. Okay, we know where it is now. I've found when you're trying to look for something, and especially if it's not your project and you don't know where it is, the safest thing to do, which is ironically the most destructive thing, grab whatever's in the way and just like chuck it to the side and keep going till you find it. Take a look at where it is in the layer and then Control Z and bring it all back together. All the way back together. Okie doke. So here we've got our arm. We need to brush the teeth, which just means we need to move the position left to right. Cool, you can do that. Now we're gonna make this one simple enough because as we're having to animate every single bit, it might take a little bit of time. We want to make sure that we can get in all of the different types of match cut examples before the end of our session today. So I've got my position. I'm going to move the arm in a bit. I haven't bothered to move the anchor because it's not that important. In this case, we can absolutely move it a little bit later on though. Oh, it's not connected to the other arm. So it looks like we've got to connect that too. So we need our left arm, not our left arm. We need our right arm. Let's find that. Backhand is what it's called. And we'll connect it to the correct arm. Looks like I must have mixed these up. So if it's starting from the outside, we need to go to the other side first. So we'll move it over. All squeaky clean. We'll highlight both of our keyframes and press F9. Or if you're not using shortcuts, right click, go to keyframe assistant and make sure you go to easy ease. Now that's a really slow brush. We're not about that life. So let's drag this over here. Remember, the closer the keyframes are, the faster they move. That's pretty slow. So this must be a very long thing. There we go, a little bit better. So we've got a brush to the side. We need it to come back. So let's take our former one, grab that, copy it and pull it all the way back. Yeah, I mean, it kind of sounds like a train with the choo-choo. But I think I want it to go further back. Let's make it a little bit dramatic, shall we? Now, X is our movement from side to side, which is the red one. I want to grab both of these and drag them down. It looks like maybe I've got my magnet on. Something is on that's preventing them from moving down. Which one is it? If you do find you've got that problem, it's very likely that you might have one of these on. It might be the snap or it might be the auto zoom, which might be preventing you from moving the position of your graphical keyframes. So try to make sure it's not locked down or just turn it off, turn it back on again. The old IT trick. Now I want it to start further back, so I'm just going to keep pulling it down until it goes further back. Vandal, hello. How are you doing today? Are your teeth squeaky clean? We're going for the brushing of the century. Okay, so we've got a simple brush animation. We might want to make it go over a little bit. So to do so, I'm just going to break the dimensions. We right click and separate the dimensions. We don't need the Y. We're not brushing like that because that's not how a train moves. We need to go from left to right. So I'm just going to turn off the stopwatch for the Y because we don't need to see it. Let's put our easy ease back on there. Cool. Now let's say we do want it to kind of overshoot a little bit. I know we spoke about overshoot before when we were doing animation 201 with the frame by frame things. Welcome in, Nini Midas. I hope you're doing well. Alejandro! Hi! Okay, now I feel like I need to ask a toothbrush related question. What kind of toothpaste do you use? Or are you going old school and not using any toothbrush at all? Wait, no toothpaste, but a toothbrush. That's my question for you. She doesn't actually have any toothpaste on. I could have done it, but we won't go in that far. So because I'm grabbing the angle and I'm dragging it up, it means it's going to go over just a little bit longer before it comes back. So we've got a nice overshoot and it whips it right back. I think I like it. We're just going to grab everything and copy it. Take a look. It's not bad. We'll loop it a couple of times and we might extend it a little bit. So here, I feel like I want it to overshoot backwards. So I'm going to grab all of these ones at the bottom and I'm going to do the same thing that we did at the top. Grab the anchor. We might need to break this part. At the moment, it's moving in the same direction, which means it might start too soon, which might not be what we want, but we'll see what we get. Sometimes it can be a happy accident. Voodoo said, I use Colgate, put part of my heart wishes. I could still use the Barbie paste with the pink sparkles. Yeah, I didn't know that existed. Oh my goodness. Maybe we should like make the toothbrush pink. You here for the fun? Yes, Vandal. Fun all day, every day. Okay, so we've got a bit of a brush. You know, we actually use a pink toothpaste. I don't know what it's called. We use a pink toothpaste, actually. But it's not a Barbie one. I kind of wish it was. I've never seen a Barbie one. Oh, it's a balloon. Welcome, lovely. I love your avatar. Okay, we've got the brush. It's kind of slow. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to loop it a few more times. Yes, we could absolutely use... Oops, let's not grab that bit. We could absolutely use a... what do you call it now? You know when you type the word in and you can like make it loop with letters? What's that now? Let me find it. Hold on. Maybe if I click it. Oh, there we go. If we use the express keys, we could absolutely make it loop without us having to do it manually. But I am so old school that I tend to do it myself. That way I have a little bit more control over where the keyframes are, how fast they go, all of that jazz. So we've got the brush. We're happy. Cool. I want her head to kind of be affected by the brush. She's brushing, but maybe she's brushing a bit too hard. So let's go up to the head, go to the neck. Now, because we can see our keyframes, we know I've kind of got it to loop after the 3. After that, we can just make them match. We're going to make them move faster, but I want everything to match up first before I squeeze it in. Because once we do, let's say we grab all of these, we hold Alt. I know we went over this a little bit in the last episode. We hold Alt and we drag it in. It will make it faster in the same spacing that you had before, but because it's not truly on a real keyframe, trying to make things match is very tricky. So if you're planning to do that, complete everything else that you want to match up first, and then grab them all, squish them all down together. Oh, Gonzo, welcome. Expression, not Euphemol. Oh, yes, Euphemol the toothpaste. Expression, thank you, Gonzo. That's it. Loop out duration expression works, but then you can't find each stroke. See, Gonzo knows what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Sometimes it's good if you don't need that kind of control, but if you need the control, better not. Better to not. Because eventually you need to tweak it, and then you kind of trying to go in to tweak the expression. If it works for you, wonderful. But for the rest of us, just need a little bit of a ting, you know? Oh, Mohid, welcome, lovely. Okay, so we've gone up to the head. I need the head to be affected by the brush, but I'm going to make sure that the head kind of moves slightly after the movement. So you've got the, and it comes back, then it goes back the other way. So let's have the head move a little bit, only a little bit, because if the head moves too much, we might be focused on the head instead of the toothbrush, which means when we go to make the train come out, the action's not going to add up because the head's moving in a kind of clockwise motion, but the train's moving straight across. So I want a little bit of head movement. I want some animation, but we don't want it to distract the audience too much. So maybe that might be a bit too distracting. Let's have it about 3. Let's take another look. Good. So we want the head to be affected slightly after. So that means that the timing of these cannot be the same. So we can technically just grab this, maybe move it over 1, move it over 2, maybe. Let's take a look. Ah, nice. Cool. So if we're just going to move it over 2, let's complete everything first. Make sure they all match, then shift it over 2. So I'm going to grab this, go to this one, And this one kind of overshoots back a little bit. So we're not going to have it, oh, we can make it -3. That could be good. -3. Take a little look once we move it 2 spaces. Also, another point on what Gonzo had mentioned earlier in the chat is because we're able to see the strokes, and we're able to see the keyframes, when it comes to copying or doing things which might be kind of complicated in the long run, because we can see a kind of pattern happening, it makes it really easy for you to pinpoint where you're going. Cool. I don't want the head to come back that soon, so we're gonna jump into the graph editor. I want the head to stay up. How do we do that? We go over to our anchor line, our tangent, and I'm totally just gonna pull it up and see what happens. The further it's out, the longer it stays out. Because I pulled it up, it means the head's gonna overshoot a little bit more. You really love it? Oh, thank you. We've barely gotten started yet. Oh. So because this bit and this bit are so close together, it means it's going to snap. We don't get a nice little smooth out because there's not enough time. So I'm going to drag this out maybe a little bit. Push this in. So it has enough time. There we go. We've got a woo woo. Yeah. Oh, okay. Good. Right. I dig it. That's all good. But if we do that, it means it's kind of messed up our timing. At the moment, our head moves 2 frames after the brush. But I might have to let it go and accept that as a loss. Manually do this for a second. 2 frames after, 2 frames after. Let's see. Ooh, this is so much better than the one we did before. Okay, it's working. 2 frames after. I could grab it actually from the top because now when we do 2 frames after, it will actually do a lot more than we were just doing right then. Great. Let's assume that we're going to have the match cut happen before it gets all the way down there. So we've got this. Yay. Look at them teeth. Look at them pearly whites. So we'll say that we don't need these keyframes. Val, you're so sweet. We're going to grab all of these. Let's say it's slow for the first 2. And then around here, it speeds up. So to make something speed up, it's easier to go from one direction, either the left or the right. I don't think it really matters too much. But once you've selected everything you want, you must select the last piece while holding Alt on your keyboard. And that will allow you to pull or squish your keyframes, which will make them faster or slower within the timings that you've given them. Very, very handy. So now if I do this, we got brush, 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 and brrrr. Maybe a little bit faster. I think my bullet train's much faster than that. So about do-do-do-do-do. Okay, that's kind of too fast. But you get the meaning. Pixi can literally get me excited about anything. I mean, maybe the next one should be about paint. And we're sort of watching paint dry, but in a cool way. You're so kind, Val. To be honest, especially when what we might need to do to draw more attention to the toothbrush, we could either zoom in or we can make the brush movement be bigger. If we wanted to make the brush movement be bigger, I totally stopped talking. I was saying something. I'll go back to it. If we want the brush movement to be bigger, we can go into the arm and just grab these and drag these down, grab these and drag these up. But by doing that, the arm's totally popping out there. So maybe we need to be a little bit careful with how far we pull that out. But it will make us notice that there's a little bit more drama happening. Suddenly it's sped up out of nowhere. And we're still looking at the too fast. I know, right? The head's going to fly over the speed. You know what? Maybe it should have been a different transition. I feel like the other 2 mini games might be easier for this, but you know. So what I was saying, Val, was when we do animation, I'm heavily aware that animation can take a long time. And sometimes you just need that little bit of hope while you're learning. So being able to bring a little bit of cheer while we're learning something new makes me very, very happy. So I'm really glad that that's the case. Okie dokie. So we're in, we're good. Let's say we're gonna make it cut here. We're good. We're not even gonna touch anything else because we've got so many other things to do in this. So we want it to be around here. Let's start with the background. Shift click all the way up. Control Shift D. That way it will snip all of our things for us. And let's grab everything on the left. We don't need it. Goodbye. And let's turn this on. Maybe let's only turn on the train. The background's going to cover everything, but we don't need that either. Which one's the train? Is that the train? That's the train. Okay. Let's grab the train. We can see the train. We can probably make it slightly opaque. It's kind of in the right space, really. We don't really need to move it, but what we want to do is match the movement. Remember, our aim is to match the action. So if we're looking at this one, we want it to move when it goes to the right or when it's sort of going back to the right. So probably maybe around here. Let's grab this back, grab our train. Let's see if I actually connected these. I did. Good. I'm going to show you how to connect, duplicate, and add on a bunch. Kind of a really simple parenting manner. So I've got my train, go to our position. It's sort of in the same place. Let's say about here. Oh, it moves really fast by that point. So we'll say, okay, you're all the way over there. But it's going to have to keep going. So maybe all the way over here. We'll take a look and see. Dude, on a serious note, I know what you mean. Animation education can be dense, but really, I can't think of a time learning animation felt more exciting than being on one of your streams. If I could blush, I would. You're too kind. I don't even have a fan. Can't even. Thank you so much. That really does make me happy. Oh my goodness. I did hear something really nice. Some people have been using it to learn in schools, I found out. So if, I feel like if I was, when I was in uni, if we had mini games, we didn't have mini games, but it could just be because I'm a gamer. But if there were mini games and little things where you kind of make your own game, but you learn at the same time, it just seems like such a fun way to learn and get the things together. So I'm very, very, very grateful. Right, so we've got this one. All I've done is I've duplicated the car, moved it down, and it's actually already parented. So I'm gonna have it move over a little bit, duplicate it, move it over. You can actually see where the previous and the former one is. So we don't actually need it to be on screen. We can, we probably should, but we're not gonna. Gotta be time conscientious. If we could quote on Behance Emma. All right, it's probably going to move too fast, but let's take a look. So we've got a different background and all that jazz coming in. We need to make sure the train is back on. Let's take a little look. Does it work? Now what we could do, one, it needs to move further. It's not moving far enough. Where you going? Nowhere apparently. Oh no. Okay. We'll keep it moving. Really what I should do is open this up. Take a look. It's the X. The X is not good. There we go. So let's take a look. That could work, but the movement and the timing is off. So I'm just going to pull it in. She doesn't brush her teeth yet. We really need her to. Grab this. Going to pull it in twice. Good. I need the timing to start around the same time. That's actually better. Oliver said learning animation in school. We barely even had computers. Oliver, no! Oliver, no. To be honest, I remember when I was in school, I ended up like, I was in school to learn, but I ended up learning on the internet anyway while I was in school. It's such a wild time. Oh, yes. Okay, that's it. That's it. That's the one. That's the one. Okay, okay. We got the movement and the timing correct. You might need to fiddle with it a bit, but that's honestly, I think, the quote of animation entirely. We just need to fiddle with it a little bit. Come back in 2 hours. Fiddle with it some more. Same. Oh no, Val. I honestly feel like we were. Uni is a good thing. Don't get me wrong. Do it. Go to it. But it's more for learning how to interact with people and learning about, if you like, group projects. Everybody, group projects. Yeah. Okay. That's it. That's the one. That is the one. We could totally have it last longer, but I don't know if I'm inclined to. We don't need that. We should have it go. Ooh, smooth. We're not going to have it be longer. Okay. So we've got teeth brush, 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 choo, choo. Good. Okay, that's one. I'm looking at the clock, you see. That's why. That's why I'm like, oh, we don't have time to finesse this even more. But what I know is you lot will absolutely finesse it more because you'll have more time. So now we know how to do number 1. Cool. What's number 2? To the lemon. We're going to be a chef, master. We were first a judge and then we chose to be a chef. Huzzah. Now I thought this one would be a really good example because the movement of the, what is it called now? What's the thing? What's the thing that we smack down there? What's that? A gavel. Okay, so the gavel movement and the knife movement, they're pretty much the same, really. So it's a really, really useful thing to kind of match up. I was trying to think, okay, what could a gavel go to? But it's like, oh, chopping, of course. Of course. Now, like before, I've left everything here. I'm not going to animate it for you anymore. You lot can animate on your own now. We've gone to the kindergarten school. We've learned how to walk a little bit, but now we've got to flex those muscles by doing some on our own. La Paolo. Uma. It's the face for me. It's the face for me. Uma said group projects where one person does most of the work and gets no recognition. What is this coming out now? I'll never forget. Me and this other person, we did the work. One person did not do the work. We all got told off. They were like, nah, you're a group. Superloon said, your videos help me a lot. I'm learning animation. Yay! Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Oh, that's wonderful. All of the mini game files should be there for every single episode, be it frame by frame or After Effects, of which we are doing in this season. But thank you so much for saying that. I'm really grateful to hear that. One's coming out now. Yeah. That's called real life preparation. Oliver, this is what I mean. Like, this is why I'm like, look, you need to go so you understand what you're gonna see later. If you're working with people, you understand. You'll understand. See, Shuva, you understand. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I want the knife and the table thing. I want the cooking thing to happen later. But that means we need the gavel to happen first. Probably it's not going to take that long. Maybe 3 seconds and then flip over. Big mood, you know? When I tell you, we've all been there. Could still see it light as day. Because we stood in front of an atrium. We had to stand on the stage. And everybody else was like sitting on like these rows. It's like you were in court or something. And you were there. Your thing displayed on the screen. You had to stand up. The teacher looked at you like, where's the rest of it? One of us did not turn up. What do you mean one of you? There's more of you. You all should have done it. Excuse me? Yeah, you're all getting told off for this one person that didn't do it. It's like, yeah. Oh, Shiva, thank you. Yeah, sadly, I don't understand. Oh, Uma, no. Okay, gavel. What does the gavel do? Moves up and down. So, position. Maybe we should have it start up first. I'm going to lock its position here because it needs to be here at some point. This is good. Oh, I connected nothing. Ooh, okay. We'll do some connections and things. It's good to have not everything done for you because then when you have to do it, you're not sure how. Which is why I'm pretty sure I left these parent links unlinked. So we've got our position of where it's going to end up, but I want it to start EMEA. So I'm going to move the position up. And I need to rotate it too. Let's get the rotation open. Let's see them both by pressing U. There we go. So now we've got the original rotation. Oh, it's kind of out of frame. So let me pull it down a little bit. We are absolutely going to split these. Cool. What's a bit... Oh. You know what? when you're moving the keyframes out in the beginning and you're looking at them, you're like, yeah, you know, it looks kind of good. And then you press play and it's like, haha, it's like the smell in the hair. Yeah, So we'll move this a bit closer. Cool, still a bit, We've got it going down, but do you remember what we learned maybe in, I think, Animation 201? Anticipation? There's no anticipation, it's just, meh. So we need it to come up a little bit. So I'm gonna grab the first ones again. We might delete some of these, but just my process for it. You don't have to do it in this way. Find your own way. Like one thing my uni teacher said that was very useful. It doesn't matter how you do it as long as the end result's the same. So if in my case, when I'm trying to overshoot a previous action, I copy the keyframes from before and then I move them. So I want this to come back a little bit. You know, I'm gonna let it go out of the frame. We really shouldn't really, but I'm gonna let it. Okay, so we got back up. We can't have it hit down straight away. Back up. Rotation should probably stay. Let's think about it. Do I have, I've got candy cane. I don't know why. So we've got, oh, other hand. So up. Over. Looks like the position moves first and then the rotation. So the rotation needs to move last. This rotation and this one aren't the same. We got one. Let's move this over a little bit. That could be good. We need it to hang. Let's separate the dimensions. We could have both of those move for now, but I think it's mainly the Y. We don't need this middle bit, do we? Let's see. We do need this middle bit. We want it to stay where it is. To make it stay, we're just going to drag it out. That makes it hold its position for a longer time. I'm going to drag all of these down a little bit. Because I know I said I don't mind it going off the screen, but I kind of do. Up. Up. The rotation has to go further back on its way down. That's what it is. Okay, I get it. Cool. The beautiful trial and error. Let's move this one out a little bit. While you're going and trying to get that nice movement. Ooh, that was kind of nice. Ooh, that was kind of nice. Oh, ooh, okay, okay. We're getting there, we're getting there. I want the rotation to go over. So we know we do that by pulling this up. Normally when you have your tangents, it's best for the two yellow lines to go in the same direction. So by having them sort of look like they're going in the same direction, really good. If you can't get that, go ahead and add another keyframe. If I don't have to, I won't though. Ooh, spicy. Cool. So let me pull this over. I feel like I want it to last a bit longer before it goes down. So I am going to add another keyframe, but I want it to have a keyframe where it is. So let's put a keyframe down manually over there. And I'm just going to drag it and this out a little bit. Give me a little after. Cool. I want it to go back a little bit more. We are going to have to pull down this a little bit because it's way too high now. She says way too high. Okay, who's low? Oh, up is low. All right, good to know. So we need to pull them up. I pulled it in the wrong direction, apparently. Let's get in there, pull this up. 2, 1. We can move the X as well to have it move back a little bit. Paolo says, I'm the same way that the musician sees the notes when he plays. The entertainer feels the movement before it happens. It's honestly, I think us lot being creatives, we're in such a wonderful position. Being able to see see it all come together. It's like you have to be empty first and then the idea will come to you. It's very lovely. Hang Bam, yes, Uma. Bam Bam, thank you, ma'am. So I got this up. I don't want it to hit down like that. Good. I'm gonna click both of them. This way, by holding shift, I can see them both and help me match my movement a little bit better. So I've got this. I'm gonna pull this one up. Oh, it's way too far, but it's better to have it go over the top because then I can bring it in a little bit rather than it not be enough and not know what to do or how to fix it. So I'm gonna grab this. And I want to move it down a little bit. There we go. We've got a little bit of a notch there. Do be aware if the line of the keyframe goes over the next one, it's going to go up, down, then up again. So I need it to look like it's going up towards it, but it can't be higher than the keyframe we're going to. Can have this go back a little bit, but it is going to lean out of the view. Take a look at the Y. Might need this to wait for a second. We might need to actually. Let's pop down a keyframe on this as well. Make it stop for a little bit. And we want that nice rotation, which would be about here. We've got a jitter. That's because that's going up and it looks kind of awkward. Want it back, not too far. Let's have it go back far. Why not? Gonna pull these two out just so that they can last for a bit longer. Looks like we need it to wait. Good. And then we'll have that smack down. At the bottom, I'm clicking ease in and ease out, which means I'm able to grab each tangent individually and move it over, which is exactly what I want. Good, but that's too soft. So let's move it in a little bit. Nice. Cool. Something about that doesn't look good to me. Is my X in the same place? It is. Y. Let's check that again. Something about this I do not like. Not sure what yet. I think it's too soft. We're going to add a little bit of effect onto the table as well. So when it hits the bottom, it's going to actually look like something's going on. I'm going to move this in as well, I think. It's too slow. And it's probably this now that I'm thinking about it. Hold on a second. Yeah. It's this up movement doesn't seem to work. So something's got to go. Somebody's got to go. We could totally push the X over, because if we move the X here, it won't be out of view, which could actually help us out a little bit. So I'm going to push this up or down until I can find out how to keep it in the shot. It might not work though. A little bit of trial and error for us. Entertainer equals animator RS. Yes, absolutely. Oh, I kind of like that. Let's get rid of this. Thankfully, because they're separated. Oh, do I need this at all? Do I even need that? No, we do. We do. Actually, we do. Because that they're separated. Ooh, 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 ooh. Absolutely not, babe. Absolutely not. There we go. Okay. Too far. It's nice, but it's too far. Cool. Ooh, better. Better, 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 better. Not bad. That's a bit jerky. Better, much better. Because we've separated the X and the Y, it's okay for us to have different keyframes in different places and we're able to move it around, do whatever we like with it. Very, very handy. Okay. So let's say I'm happy with that. I'm gonna put a motion blur on it. That's this button over here. If you don't have it, click on toggle switch / modes. And then you'll be able to see your 3D layer, your adjustment layer, and your motion blur. So now I've got this. I'll probably speed it up. Ooh, we did it wrong. There we go. So the reason why it's not working is because I didn't grab the last keyframe. This one at the top is slightly further out. So I have to hold Alt and drag from that one. Ooh, good. Okay. So we've got this. We need it to come back up, repeat the process. The first thing I want it to do though, is have the gavel and the table bounce down. So it kind of looks like, oh, it really hit the table hard. We're going to use that on the knife as well. So I'm going to connect the gavel thing to the table. So all I have to do is grab the table, put my position down again. But when it hits the gavel, we make it move down a little bit. And then it comes back up. We can put an easy ease on this. Sometimes you don't need to. Ooh, nice. Boom, boom. And it goes back up. We could have it overlap for a little bit if we want it to. But now that we've got this in tow, we need it to come back up and start the loop again. And then we'll know when and how we need to make our table repeat its loop. Good. Boom. I feel like we don't need this. Yep. Sometimes, you know, one of my friends told our keyframes, we've got a pattern right there. And we know that this is one bit after whatever that is, which is over here. So all we have to do is pop it down one space after it. Wait, what happened? Is everything okay? What happened? I didn't even know something went down. Got me scared for a second there. I was like, hold on a second. What happened? So I don't know when we disappeared. Now fine. Thank you. Thank you, Rob. I buffered for 10 seconds. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. So for anything that was missed, not too much, I don't think. The last thing I said was, if in doubt and your animation's jerky, delete a couple of keyframes in the jerky area. That normally fixes it. And because we were making the table bounce, because we're able to see our keyframes for the gavel, all we had to do was see where our table bounce happens, try to match it up, and this will allow us to make sure that the table hit happens at sort of around the same time. Looks like it's kind of on or after the middle part. So we might need to pull it out a little bit. We'll see. We'll see. Sometimes people might not notice. Thank you, Rob. Okay, let's take a little look. How did it go? Cool. I think I'm gonna move it in a little bit. Seems like it's too slow for my liking. Good. I'm just gonna manually grab all of them. Sometimes it seems fine in the beginning, other times not so much. We could totally put a motion blur on this one too, if we so choose. All right, here we go. Cool. I might put a motion blur on it. Why not? Let's see what happens. Let's see what I won. Cool. Could probably be a little bit more dramatic. I'm just going to grab all of them. Grab it in. Move them out a little bit. Better. A little bit better. Can we make it a little bit faster maybe? Let me try. One more time. One more time. One more time. And then I'll leave it alone. I swear. Ah, this one's not even in the right spot. So this is why it's really handy to be able to see your keyframes. Sometimes everything's all patternized. There we go. Cool. So now I've got the knife coming in. Now we want to match the action. So we technically don't actually have to animate again. All we have to do is make sure that our anchor's where we want it to be, which it kind of is. And if I grab all of these, I'm going to copy and paste it. This is one perk about having a very similar shaped object. Really does the work for us. We can just paste it on the knife and say happy days. So now we've got the same movement already. Yay, we didn't have to do anything. Woohoo! Let me copy the rotation as well. Oh, I already did. What do you know? And let's put that motion blur on it too. Boom, 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 boom. Now it's going and it's great, but it's kind of off center now. So one useful thing to do is, instead of trying to jump in and mix all the stuff around, you absolutely can, if you want to, go into the graph editor, grab this and move it back. Actually, that's not so bad. But if you didn't want to go in there and move all of that, what you can also do is right click, go to new, click null object. Probably call it something. I'm gonna call it knife driver. That looks great. Thanks, Val. And we're gonna connect the knife to the driver. This way we have a lot of control. Because now I could do extra stuff on this and I'm still able to keep the animation. So it depends on how much you need to do, where you need your control to be. Let's take a look at our lemon slice. Okay, so that's not so bad. We're digging it. We've got our table. We could do the same thing to the table as well, but we will want our lemon slice to fall down. So we will have to do a little bit of extra animation in there. Cool. Great, we've got that. That's gravy. I think we'll have it about here. That way we don't need to actually do more animation. I'll pull it in here. Maybe have the thing come about. Yay. See where it comes down. We can also pull it a little bit lower down. Let's check where our table is as well. Table's about in the right space, I think. Lovely. Let's make sure we've actually got the animation on it. We do. Cool. I might have to move the table down a little bit because now it's kind of intercepting the knife. Do we have a... Oh, we do have a thing on the position. Let's grab all of it and drag it down. That is one thing about copying the animation over. It does tend to move everything. So if you want, you could probably copy that information onto a null group, then connect your main thing to the null. That way it will shift where it is instead of moving it entirely. So now we've got this. Great. We won't need these ones, so we can totally select them. Control Shift D. I'm just going to delete to the other end. Probably on its way down, I think. Maybe about here. Grab all of these, pull that over. Something like this. Oh, oh, there we are. Great. I'm gonna pull these ones in too. Now you might have noticed while the knife is going down, the lemon doesn't seem to be aware of what's happening. So I do want the lemon to be attached to the table. That way it kind of bounces with it. How do we attach things? With the parent. So lemon slice, I'm pairing it to the table. So now it's gonna move with the table, which is great. I've just noticed that this knife is not moving down nearly far enough to actually properly cut this lemon. So let me go over to the Y, grab these. See if I can just pull it down a little bit because he ain't going down nearly far enough. There we go, okay. We got, boop, yes, okay. More like it. We're in, cool. So we've got this, but nothing happens when we cut the lemon. So what do we do? Well, first we're gonna make sure that this loops here because we're not doing any more. We're gonna press N, BN, to connect these over. That way it makes your work area be constrained to a certain limit. So now that we've got this, I could probably put the B here actually. So it just loops the bit that I'm currently on. I want the lemon to fall. I want a lemon to stay and a lemon to fall. So I'm gonna duplicate this lemon and I'm gonna time it. So when it gets cut, I'm gonna pop the position on. Say it gets cut here. We're gonna plop it down. If it's too quick, it might not be seen though. Nice, so we got one. And what we can actually do is just cut it off, duplicate it, and move it to match the timing. Easy. Whoop, whoop. Kind of like a mini game already. Woohoo! Boom, boom. We got it! Okay, that's number 2. So we can take a quick look at number 3. I'm gonna leave that one more so for you. Okay, we got boom, 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 slice, slice, slice. Huzzah! Quick little look at number 3. Fierce. Now this one's gonna put all of your previous knowledge together. I think I've connected a lot of the things, but this one's a little bit more detailed, a little bit more complicated. We have about 5 minutes left. Oh, yes. So we won't aim to finish this one today. Sometimes it's more fun to see what you come up with. The sword is on a layer on its own. You can absolutely just swing the sword, maybe move the sword a little bit like we did with the gavel. Oh, and as a reminder for anybody that is using the After Effects file, because I think somebody wasn't able to find the other mini games, your mini games are actually right here in the composition list. So if you're looking for them, they're already inside the file for you. Okay, so you've got your position. You can move your position, move your rotation as well, all of that jazz. Pretty much exactly the same with what we did. The slow sword. You know what? What I'm gonna do, bearing in mind of the time, we'll just go over to, here's one I made earlier. Okay, so we've got our sword. What I've gone for is movement of the Y and of the X axis, as well as the rotation. Jack! Hi, Jack! Oh, thank you, Vandal. So we've moved the X and the Y exactly like we did for the gavel. I'll show you the graph editor as well, so you can see the kind of movement I went for. We went for a lot of slow ins and slow outs. I copied that animation onto the eyeliner, as you can see above. So we've got the eyeliner's movement as well, which is exactly the same. Pixi, hit was with a Martha Stewart. Wait, what do you mean? What the Martha Stewart? Talk to me about it. What's the Martha Stewart? I don't think I know it. I'm out of the loop. I'm out of the loop. I need a hint. And then, because we're matching the action, on the way back up, so it's the same animation, on the way back up, I move the eyelash first. Even though it seems kind of janky when we slow it down, people aren't going to notice it. I don't think we noticed it in the little example before either. I move the eyelash first, and then I open the eye. In order to create a kind of slow easing, I ease the head up, I ease the eyebrows up, and I also move the pupil up slowly as well. Oh, you're so kind. Oh, thank you very much. I'm really glad that you lot are enjoying the stream and all the games. When you say do this, and here's what it will be like, it's like when Martha Stewart pulls her pie. Oh, is it? Okay. So all you have to do is do this and do some of this. Yeah. And then here's what it will be like. All fierce and gorgeous, but this one will take you a little bit. So when you get to the third minigame, the last minigame is always the hardest minigame. So don't worry about how long it takes you. It's gonna take a little while. It's all okay. To make everything move the way I needed it to, I went into the heads. I'll show you the head's position. There's only 2 keyframes, one down, one up. The hair's already connected, so it should be for you. So you shouldn't need to worry about that. And I didn't even separate them. It's just a straight, easy ease. I'd feel bad if I closed this out without at least showing you the graph editor and all that jazz. For the brow, we have more than 2 animations. Take a look. We've got it going down. We have it going over its resting position and then going to its resting position. Where the face is when you open it is where it automatically is. So you don't need to worry about that too much. For the record, it's not a bad thing. Thank you, Val. Thank you so much for joining me for Animation 301, everybody. Episode 2. I hope you had fun. I know I did. As always, time for the conclusion. So, your homework is complete the minigame homework and use match cuts on an animation of your own. Don't forget, just like Penny Doodles, if you want to have your work shown on Animation 301 or any of the 101s that come up, don't forget to @ me somewhere or jump into the Discord that Adobe has. I think in the Behance, it's actually here right now to register for the creative challenge. That Discord, you can at me there too. I'd love to see how your mini games come out, and I'm always happy to help if you need me. Oh, and Alejandra said, enjoying Pixipui's class. Thank you so much. It's always wonderful to see you lot. Now, stay tuned, as there is more awesome things coming up. Next, you have Motion Design Hotline. Character conundrums with Ethan Abrams and Carl Hamrick. So stay tuned. And thank you for joining me on Animation 301.